Okay, we're live. Welcome to this week's episode of the Career Catapult podcast. I want to talk with you today about how to engineer a thriving and successful career within your organization. Okay, how to reverse engineer a thriving career within your organization. Have you ever wondered why a new team member, somebody brand new to a company, can join the organization and almost immediately it seems like the doors just open for them, right? While the others who've been there for a while are not able to advance their careers. They continue to struggle to advance their careers. Have you ever wondered why this team member can join the organization and within 6 months to a year land a promotion internally, a highly coveted promotion, all the while the company has a stated policy that they don't promote people who haven't been here for 24 months. They don't promote you if you haven't been in your job for 18 months, but this team member is able to do that after walking in off the street, 6 to 12 months ago. While the other team members who are long tenured are being told things like, not yet, we're waiting for the budget, it's not the right time, we need to find the right role, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Have you ever wondered why this team member can join the organization and it seems like they are awarded the most highly visible, the most transformational projects, right? While the other team members who were there for eons before they joined are really stuck on some dead end projects that no one's ever, I mean, they're working hard and they're working on some important things, but these are not the projects that are going to, make waves in the organization. They're not the projects that the CEO is asking about every single day. Have you wondered what could be driving that? How somebody can walk in off the street, okay, to an organization and in a matter of under a year have such a huge impact in the organization, such that their promotion is a no-brainer after 6 to 12 months, while the others are there, again, a bit disgruntled, right? Struggling to advance their careers. I've been that team member, right? Joining an organization, being promoted in under 6 months. And there was a lot of chatter around me. I heard all of the chatter and all the comments that people were making about why. There was a lot of people who were unhappy about that decision, right? But I want to talk to you today about how this happens, how somebody can come in, right, brand new and really just orchestrate their way to the most highly coveted promotions, the most highly coveted projects, the most highly coveted seats on the executive table, while others are essentially just stuck and languishing on some dead end projects and unable to be upwardly mobile in the organization. It's very simple. And this episode, by the way, is going to be a bit of a summary because these are things we've talked about before. There are things you likely know, but these are, again, they tend to fall by the wayside because you're so busy. You're so busy working on the projects, delivering the results, that sometimes you forget what really is important. We tend to work on what's urgent and we forget what is important. So this is going to be an episode that will summarize for you and remind you those elements that you likely already know, but you need to hunker down, pay attention to, and ask yourself whether you are in fact executing what you know, whether you are being what you know. Okay. So what is it that makes the difference? It's one key word. You've heard me say this word over and over and over again. It's one key word, and that key word is brand. Your brand. Your brand is very simple. It's what you are known for. And unfortunately, most people are haphazard about their brand. They don't realize that even if you don't intentionally create a brand, you still have a brand. It doesn't really matter how much time or how little time you spend thinking about brand or working on your brand, it exists. And the proof will be in the pudding. Right? The proof will be in the pudding. Your brand is the single most important thing that will shape and determine your career experience within a particular company. It's what will shape your likelihood of promotion, of not just promotion, because you might say, Stella, I'm not interested in a promotion right now. Maybe you're brand new to the company and you just want to focus on being onboarded, or maybe you've just accepted a new role. Like, I get it. You may not be thinking about a promotion this second, but can I tell you, the best time to be thinking about a promotion is when you're not thinking about the promotion, right? If you get what I'm saying. Like, you have to be creating that brand because it's the brand that will be the fuel to your career. It's the brand that will then, when you're ready for that promotion in 18 months, when you're ready for that promotion in 2 years, that's what will make that promotion a no-brainer for your organization, right? So this is in fact the best time to be thinking about this. This is in fact the best time to be working on this because without it, you are going to struggle to land a senior level promotion within your organization. Most people don't get promoted. We've talked about this before. Promotions are exceptions. They are not, they're not being handed out. You get a promotion, you get a promotion, right? No, promotions are exceptions. They're not a reward. You're not being rewarded. They are a recognition by your organization that you have more potential beyond what you're doing, that there's higher value that you can deliver through other people at a higher level. That's what a promotion really is. Okay. So your brand is the biggest catalyst, right? It's the rocket fuel to your experience at this organization, so that the next time you want a promotion, you want them to pay for something, you want them to give you additional headcount, whatever it is that you want, your company is more likely to say yes. Yes. Right? While they may be saying no to other people, they are saying yes to you. So what are some of the brand considerations? What do you need to know? What do you need to be thinking about? What do you need to be working on every single day that you show up at work? This is what I want you to know, okay? I've pulled together 6 elements that I want you to be aware of and to be actively working on as you show up daily, because this is what will then create that brand that will make your growth and your promotion a no-brainer. Number 1, it begins in the interview process. It begins at the very beginning. Okay, the first impression, the interview process. That's where this all starts. It does not begin when you sign the offer. It begins at the interview process. You have to position yourself to be the person for whom the company is willing to pay top dollar. Every company has a pay band for their roles. Okay. And some people are stuck at the sort of the middle or even the early part of the pay band, and others have eclipsed the pay band. Others have had the company expand the pay band. Others have been moved to a new pay band. All right. Because of how they position themselves in the interview. Right. I've seen this so many times where a team member is so highly desired by the organization for either a certain skill set or a certain track record that they bring, that the company will say, we will pay anything. We've had clients in our program where the company said, here is a blank check. You tell us what you want. Here, write down all the things you want in addition to your salary. And literally everything they wrote down, the company was like, done. Done. Because we want that person who worked at that company, who put that thing in place over there. We want that over here. And we are willing to pay top dollar for that person. If you don't mine your experiences for that kind of brand material and position yourself and really knock it out of the park in the interview process, you're starting behind. You're starting on your back foot. It doesn't mean you won't have a successful career. You can go on to have a successful career. We're talking about maximum success, that we're talking about the kind of thing that makes you stand out from day one. Because here's the thing is, when your company makes that kind of a sizable investment, when they eclipse the pay band, when they say, you know, our pay band for this role really ends at 250, we're going to go up to 300, and we're going to throw on this and this and this and this and this and this. And now they're looking at $500,000 on that team member or $1 million on that team member. When the company does that, they are likely to want to protect that investment. They're likely to want to come to the table, right? They're likely to want to make sure this person stays, this person is retained, they don't leave. Right? Because you positioned yourself in a certain way. Not everybody gets that. Not everybody gets that experience, right? But you have to be intentional about how you are positioning yourself from the very beginning, from the interview process. That's point number 1, okay? Because when they invest at that level, they will protect that investment. Point number 2, your introduction on day 1 matters. Day 1, week 1, month 1. Your introduction matters. The words that leave your mouth as you describe who you are and what you do and what you're there to do matter more than you think, right? You may have interviewed with a certain small group of people within the organization, but now you're getting a chance to meet the entire team. Now you're getting a chance to meet all of the leadership. Now you're getting a chance to meet all of your stakeholders. Now you're meeting the board, right? You have to be very intentional about what you want people to perceive about you in the first few minutes of you arriving there. You have to be intentional. You can't sit back and just wing it. You can't just introduce yourself the way you always have, right? Your introduction, the things that you say, this is why we have an entire module on exactly this, how to introduce yourself internally, right? Because that stuff matters. If you just show up there and you just say, well, my name is this, and I'm here to do this, and and then I'm replacing this person who was in the role. I'm the new Bob, or I'm the new Tim. Tim was in charge of this. I'm now the new person. Like, so average, so average. Nothing wrong with it. You just can't expect to then have this top tier brand in the minds of people, right? Your introduction on day one matters. You have to position yourself as the sort of person who is to be reckoned with at the levels that you would want to be in, right? You want people to be able to perceive the right things about you. Like, ask yourself, what do I want someone to think after I've just spoken? What do I want them to think after they've interacted with me? And then, are you engineering that? Are you making that happen through your words, through your introduction, right? Super important. That's point number 2. Point number 3, executive presence is key. Executive presence is key. Beyond your first introduction, all of your interactions, the rooms that you are in what ways is your presence palpable? In what ways is your presence palpable? In what ways are you influencing the conversations that you are in? And in what ways are you pioneering new conversations that don't exist? This is one of the biggest takeaways in our program. We talk to our clients who are starting a new role. Many of our clients will come to us to land their job. They'll land the job, and then will keep going, right? Because they're in the 12-month program, that will keep going into their internal promotion. And the first thing we do there is your first 90 days on the job. Okay. And one of the things we cover in that module is really how important it is to show up in a certain way in those first 90 days. A lot of times people, their tendency or their default is to think, well, I'm brand new. I should probably just sit back and listen. I should probably not really say much. I should wait until I'm spoken to. I don't want to derail the meeting. It seems like they're kind of on a roll, or they're in the middle of this thing and I just joined, and I don't want to ask a zillion questions in the meeting. So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to wait, or I'm going to keep my head down and take some notes, or I'm going to wait till the meeting's over, and I'm going to call that person and say, hey, can you walk me through what we discussed? These are all the things we do naturally. This is like the natural tendency, because you don't want the spotlight, because you don't want to seem like you're being disruptive, all the things, right? And one of the questions I ask our clients that helps cut through all of this is I ask them, I say, okay, if the CEO of this company was brand new to the company, would they do the same thing? A CEO is brand new to the company, at a company that he or she has never worked in, an industry that he or she has never worked in, but they're the CEO. Are they going to show up to the meeting and say, you know what? I don't know anything about any of this just yet, so I'm going to just sit here and say nothing the entire meeting. I don't know anything about this just yet, so I'm not going to pull together my XCOM. I'm just going to wait and meet them one at a time. I'm not going to have a meeting of all. I'm just going to fall back a little bit. No. So why would you do that? Why would you do that? Your presence, your executive presence is so important. And this is not one of those, I should have said this earlier. Okay. This is one of those things where time is of the essence. What do I mean by that? Nature abhors a vacuum. If you don't intentionally create that executive presence, if you don't intentionally create that brand from the onset, one will be created for you. You won't get a chance to then go back later and have the same kind of opportunity to create a first impression. It's what a first impression is, after all. If you meet somebody for the first time and they completely botch that first impression, that's the first impression. Now, they might be able to down the road, over multiple, encounters with them, change that perception. But it's going to be harder to change the perception than it would have been to create the right impression to begin with. I hope you guys are getting that, right? You don't have all day to just later come back and create a first impression. The first impression is happening as we speak. It's happening as soon as you interact. So when you do things like sit back and wait until someone calls on you, or you wait, you just step into, this is another thing we do. We step into the predecessor's shoes. Oh, this person was in the role and this is the way they used to do the meeting and this is what they need to do. They used to do, so I'm just going to step in and do the exact same thing. You don't have presence. The presence has to be palpable. There has to be something that is different and unique and tangible about you being there. And if that's not there, you will become a figurehead in no time. Okay, in no time, especially if you're director, senior director, VP, in no time, the organization will form around you. One of the biggest things people complain about when they join companies, we hear it every single day. So if it's happening with you, trust me, you're not alone. Is people will say, I've joined the organization, but I'm having a hard time being included or having people include me on XYZ meetings. I'm not being invited to meetings and all the things. And it's like, you have to realize they were operating before you got there. If you don't have a strong enough presence that makes your involvement a no-brainer, they will forget that you're there. It will take longer for you to gain a foothold. It will take longer for you to gain traction because you have not been intentional about cultivating a presence that is palpable, that people actually want to reckon with, that people associate with getting things done, that people associate with leadership, and that is hurting you. It's costing you. Okay, so I can talk all day. I mean, we have two huge modules on executive presence for a reason on the internal track, because it really is a very all-encompassing topic. And it's hard to do it justice on a podcast like this because there's so many different levels. And executive presence as a VP is not the same as executive presence at the C-suite, right? There are elements that that really do matter and are level specific, but you have to be asking yourself, are you appearing physically and otherwise appearing like the leader that you want to be? Are you sounding like the leader that you want to be? Are you sounding like the person that that is able to deliver the kind of value that you're asking people to follow you on? All of those things matter. Okay, if you're not working on that, if you haven't spent any time really thinking about your own executive presence, all the while you're head down trying to get some work done, again, you're behind. You're behind. All right, let's get to number 4. Number 4 is record-breaking results. Record-breaking results, okay? You have to be intentional about how you will deliver outsized results quickly. That's really important. So executive presence is important, your introduction is important, the image, all that stuff, that is important. Do not skip that. However, the substance has to be there. Okay, the substance has to be there. The organization needs to see those results. That person who the company said, here's a blank check or here's a white piece of paper, write down what you want. Okay, great. They come in, right? And they come in with a great introduction. They come in with a great presence. All right, now you're here. We've spent $1 million to bring you on. We want to see some outsized results. We want to see record-breaking results. You have to deliver something quickly, okay? And what I tell our clients to think about, and I'm going to share that with you here, is think the 4 quadrants of an impact effort matrix, okay? You guys are familiar with the impact effort matrix. On one axis, you have impact. On the other axis, you have effort. Think of those 4 quadrants. Do you have projects in each of those 4, right? Or are you coming in, taking on whatever the predecessor was taking on, whatever your boss told you, you're just kind of doing what you're told? This is the stuff, you guys. It's hard to put on paper, you know, but it's how you are being perceived. Okay. Record-breaking results are important. And depending on your level, and for most of you listening, it's not just you delivering results single-handedly, it's how will you deliver results through other people, right? Through other people. If you're somebody who has a team already and you're delivering results through them, wonderful. But then how will you deliver results through a higher level of person in the organization? How will you get other people, other VPs, other SVPs who don't necessarily report to you? How will you get them on your team? How will you get them on board? Right? If you spent no time thinking about this, it's going to impact your timeline. It's going to impact your experience at this company and ultimately your results. Okay. So delivering record-breaking results is so important. Ensure that you have different projects that deliver results, different size results, right? You have smaller impact, smaller effort, some lower hanging fruit, and then you have some stuff that are really multi-year transformational projects and everything in between. And that's the kind of thing that, again, ensures that you are showing up on the board. You're putting up points on the board every single quarter, every single month, every single, year. Your name is showing up in terms of someone who is actually delivering quantifiable value. So important. Let's get to number 5. Okay. Number 5 is strategic relationships are currency. Strategic relationships are currency. You, like I said, have to deliver results through other people, yes, but you have to be able to join the organization and very quickly figure out who's who. Okay. And this is something I've always done. When I join a company, I grab the org chart. Okay. And many times I go print it out. I actually print it out and it's huge. And it's not because the org chart tells you everything you need to know, but it's a starting point. Okay. Because when you join the company, the quicker you can know who's who, the quicker you can start to build the relationships that matter. When you don't do this, you end up going with the tide. And when you go with the tide, you end up investing in relationships that are not the most critical and under investing in relationships you really should have been investing in. Let that sink in. You end up, whoever comes and says hello, oh, hi, it seems like you're working on blah, 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 da, da, da. You end up spending more time with that person because, again, you're going with the tide. They happen to show up. Somebody comes, oh, we need you to, can you come in and work on ABC, XYZ? Or your predecessor was doing this before they left. And then you end up working on that. You end up getting swallowed into that project. Meanwhile, you should have been investing in the relationship with this other person, this other department, this other team, and you didn't do it because you didn't really come in understanding what mattered, who mattered, and at what level. I'm not saying you should not be friendly. I'm not saying that you should not chit chat. I'm not saying you should not get to know folks. I'm saying you have a limited amount of time and energy. You have to make sure you're directing that time and energy where you want it to go. So important, so key. Okay. So as you join the organization and you look at that org chart, who are the decision makers? Who are the influencers? Who are the budget owners? Who's on the board? Like all of those details, right, are important for you to know so you can begin to cultivate a relationship building plan. We actually walk our clients through creating that plan, how to create a relationship building plan so that you have a clear plan for how you will build relationships with each person. It's not a one size fits all. Okay, just because someone is a decision maker, just because someone's a budget owner, doesn't mean you'll build a relationship the exact same way with that with two different people in that role, right? So you have to actually know who those people are and start to map out how you will build the relationship, what the cadences are going to be, right? To be able to initiate, nurture, and leverage those relationships. You're going to have to be intentional about identifying sponsors and cultivating those sponsor relationships, right? These are the things, again, you may think I have no time for this. I'm so busy doing this, so busy doing this. This is how somebody can work their fingers to the bone for years on end, working on projects, working on deliverables, and have it not really ultimately matter as it relates to their career direction. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you can end up delivering huge results for an organization. But when you look at the trajectory and the direction and the pace of your career, it's not mirrored. It doesn't mirror that. This is why. This is why. These are the things I'm telling you. I'm giving you the keys here. Okay. So relationships are important and you're going to have to figure out how to initiate, nurture, leverage relationships. Last but not least is communication, executive communication, the ability to communicate at the right level, right? To be effective in your communication. And this is such a vast topic. Again, it's hard to do it justice in our short episode here, but your word choices, your cadence, your frequency, your effectiveness, your audience breadth and depth, your style, the format, these are all things that matter. How are you communicating? Is communication seen as one of your strengths at the next level? Like, meaning, if you're a VP right now, does a C-suite leader think of communication as one of your strengths? Not your directs, not the analyst, but like the role that you want to be in. Does that person think, wow, that person's really effective in their communication? Right? A vast topic. So important. So I've given you 6 elements here for you to be thinking about. There are more, but these are 6 to get you started about thinking about your brand, how you're showing up, how you're perceived. Because I can tell you right now, if the perception isn't right, if you might be doing well in your role, you might be a high performer, you might be getting the meets or even the exceeds expectation. That's great. That's for your level. But if the perception of you is not aligned to the role that you're seeking next, okay, and forget promotions here for a second. If the perception of you is not aligned to who the company wants to invest in at the caliber, at the level that you're asking for, it won't happen. It won't happen. And the tighter things get internally, the tougher things get internally, the tighter the budget, the tighter the timelines, all of that stuff, the more compressed, the more challenging this is, right? So all of a sudden, the things that used to get you noticed, the things that used to get you the exceeds, the things that used to get you the investment, the things that used to get you the additional headcount, the things that used to get you the conference attendance that the company would pay for, those things aren't working as well anymore because things are getting compressed. They are getting tighter. The company is flattening. That doesn't mean that you then rest on your laurels. It means you sharpen. Not to mention there is competition. Your coworkers are not sitting there waiting idly by. They also want that spot. They also want that visibility. They also want the promotion. They also want the things that you want as well. We are in a season and an era where you cannot afford to be complacent. And I get it. This is a bit of a side note, but I get how challenging that is. I get it. There's no area of life where this is a walk in the park. Whether you choose to stay in a corporate career, you choose to start a company and grow it, whatever it is you choose to do of any kind of professional pursuit, if you are going to do it and be really exceptional at it, it is harder. It's not easier, it's harder. So what does that mean? It means you get sharper. It means you figure out how to hone in your time and your energy. It means you get the expert support and help that you need and not try to go it alone, right? That's what it means. So if you know that you are somebody who is maybe starting a new role and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by this, you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, I know this is important. I know I ought to do this. I know there's truth to all of this. I just don't know where to start. I don't know how to do it. I don't have the tools for this next level. It sounds great, sounds good, but I also know I have a tendency to get sucked into the work and not be thinking in this way or operating in this way. Or maybe you're somebody who's been at the company for a while. You've been there for 5 years, 10 years. And yes, you know that you probably missed some opportunities to create a strong brand and you'd like to overhaul your brand now. This is exactly what I do every single day, okay, with hundreds and hundreds of leaders just like you. So get in touch with us. Simply send us an email. Reply to any of our emails that are sitting in your inbox right now, or you can email us at contact@intel.us, contact, CONTACT, at intel, INTTLLE.us, and just reply with the word internal. Okay, we'll know exactly what you mean when you do that, and we'll get the conversation started. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.